am Frey, and I'm a science fiction and fantasy author. Today I will be reading to you from a non-fiction book. It is Doctor Who in Time and Space, Essays on Themes, Characters, History, and Fandom, 1963 to 2012, from McFarland Press. Now, the essay in my chapter in this book is called Who's Doctor? And it came from an academic conference that I attended in Cardiff, Wales in 2009. At this conference called Universal Appeal, run by the Cardiff University, I gave a talk about the unknown and forgotten Canadian origins of Doctor Who, which was really interesting because almost everybody else at the event was British or had come from somewhere else in the British Commonwealth. And when I got up there, the first talk of the first session of the first day and said, "Well, Doctor Who's Canadian," everybody went, "What?" And I had a really good time reading the paper, and of course on my PowerPoint behind me, I didn't really put the bullet points of what I was saying, I just did the headings of what I was saying with ridiculous, horribly photoshopped pictures of like David Tennant in a toque with a Tim Hortons coffee cup and maple syrup and a mousse. So I had a lot of fun doing that, and because of that, people laughed in all the right places at my talk, and I was invited to submit the essay to McFarland when they were doing this book later. So I'm just going to read the introduction of the essay to you. Here we go. Who's Doctor? One of the things that first struck me upon watching the new Doctor Who was the fact that when the Doctor visited North America, it was generally to grace with his presence New York. The Doctor completely ignored Canada, my home and native land. The question that I asked myself was, why? For a unique relationship exists between the land of the Maple Leaf and Doctor Who. Canadian television benefits from its Commonwealth relationship with Great Britain and vice versa. They import and export each other's programs and documentaries, films and filmmakers, postgraduate students and teachers, techies and technology. The Canadian Broadcasting Company, or the CBC, and the British Broadcasting Company, the BBC, occasionally work in tandem on a single product, co-producing series or films or offering tax breaks for on-location productions to each other. For the first 3 seasons of Russell T Davies' Doctor Who series and the first season of Torchwood, a percentage of its funding was provided by the Canadian taxpayers, enough to earn the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation a co-production credit. But the unique relationship with Canada goes back further. The Doctor may be half human and half Gallifreyan, but the human side is at least partially Canadian. Sidney Cecil Newman, a Canadian-born film and television producer, was the BBC head of drama in April 1963 when Doctor Who first aired, and played an integral part in its inception. Also, in the 2006 episode Army of Ghosts, Yvonne Hartman, head of the Torchwood Institute, explains to Jackie Tyler that Torchwood exists to protect Queen, country, and the British Empire, which could be interpreted to mean that the Empire secretly still exists. And considering the colonialist narratives with which Torchwood is rife, is a distinct possibility. But if a Canadian put the dream on the screen, Canadian money pays for it, and Canada is still part of the imagined British Empire, where is the Canadian talent? None of the current characters, actors, or artistic team on BBC's most legendary sci-fi series is noticeably Canadian, and the Doctor never visits Canada. Also, treatment of the Canadian heritage of Doctor Who by both the BBC and academia to date has been seasoned with the colonialist slant. The Canadianness of the series is generally ignored, silenced, written out, or subjugated. In fact, the colonialistic writing out of Newman and any Canadianness in the Genesis narratives of the program are mirrored within the colonialism displayed by the Torchwood Institute and the new production. While Canada remains a source of resources, natural for the Empire, monetary for the BBC, it is still marginalized and unrecognized for its contributions and nearly completely fails to be portrayed. I propose to acknowledge this slant and highlight the Canadian contributions in the origin narratives and on-screen stories, and in doing so, attempt to break the colonialist hold on the program. To that end, this essay investigates the toque-clad history of Who, the colonialism that the new Who propagates, and how the essence of Doctor Who conforms to the agreed-upon popular definition of Canadian art in terms of its narratives. In short, how it would benefit everyone on both sides of the pond if there was a little more maple syrup in the Doctor's tea. If you want to read all about that, I talk about the birth of Sidney Cecil Newman, his invention of edutainment, how his television program Space Commander, starring a pre-Star Trek James Doohan and William Shatner, was sort of the basis of Doctor Who, and go on to talk about Doctor Who and colonialism in the Empire. Please do check out Doctor Who in Time and Space. Thank you for tuning in, and next week we will be returning to fiction. See you!